We all know about T20 cricket, but wait until you hear what they've invented. It's like T20 cricket, but 20 less deliveries per innings. Wow! Can you believe it? How on earth did they think of that? But whether you like it or not, it will go ahead, and here are the 8 stadiums that will host it. Starting off with Old Trafford, home to the Manchester Originals. A famous name the world over, largely due to its more famous neighbour that goes by the same name. But Old Trafford Cricket Ground is no less impressive, and it's even older. It's one of my favourite grounds in England, due to its mix of old and new. The red brick pavilion itself is a mix of old and new, having been built in the late 1800s and redeveloped in 2012. Between then, it had even been bombed in World War II. These striking red buildings look incredible as well. The only thing about this ground I'm not too keen on is this section that uses temporary seating for big events. Headingley Cricket Ground, home to the Northern Superchargers. As an Australian, I have mixed feelings about this ground. It was plum, mate, come on. No, I have to be neutral. You may have noticed something a little unique about the ground. It has a conjoined twin, a rugby stadium, and because of that, there is what appears to be a football stadium stand on this side of the ground, with a perfectly straight boundary. Symmetry is not common with English cricket grounds, but once again, I really like the mix of old and new, especially the Carnegie Pavilion with its geometric design. Edgbaston, home to the Birmingham Phoenix. It's a ground known for its intimidating atmosphere, partly due to the seating in this stand being so steep, which makes the players feel like the crowd is right on top of them. The ground has a nice mix of old and new. You know what? I'm pretty sure that's the case with all of them, so I'm gonna stop saying that. But it is true. This side has a very old school looking facade, while this side is quite the opposite. Trent Bridge, home to the Trent Rockets. It is the second oldest cricket stadium in the world, behind another one in this video. The only part of the stadium that actually looks old is the pavilion. Most of the stadium has a beautiful brick facade, with the exception of 2 more modern looking stands. This ground is another one of my favourites, despite the peculiar shape of it. Sophia Gardens, home to the Welsh Fire. Located in a rather serene location by the River Taff, it's the biggest cricket stadium in Wales, although it doesn't have much competition to be fair. It almost looks closer to a football stadium than a cricket stadium, other than the cricket pitches. But the field is actually closer to a rectangle than an oval. It may not be the prettiest of cricket stadiums, there's no old-fashioned pavilion or anything like that, but it certainly does the job. And like I said, nice location. Lord's Cricket Ground, home to the London Spirit. It is the oldest and most iconic cricket stadium in the world, and it's known as the home of cricket. The way the spaceship-like media centre is contrasted by the spectacular Lord's Pavilion is brilliant. Speaking of the pavilion, it's over 130 years old. It was constructed after the original pavilion burnt down. Combine all that with the white seats throughout makes for a very elegant looking cricket ground. Oh, and I suppose I should mention the prodigious slope that runs across the ground. It's not that they can't get rid of it, they don't want to. It too has become iconic. The Oval, home to the Oval Invincibles. Not too many teams around the world are named after their stadium. I hope they can get sponsored by Ovaltine and then the synergy would be perfect. It's hard to believe that a stadium that looks as incredible as this isn't even the most incredible in its city, but Lord's is in a league of its own. Well, they're in the same league, but you know what I mean. It's a stadium of 2 halves. One side is vaguely similar to the Sydney Cricket Ground, and the other is uniquely the Oval. Both sides though have stunning exteriors, in completely different ways. Another beauty. And finally the Ageas Bowl, or Rose Bowl as it's also known. home to the Southern Brave. It's the only stadium so far that is symmetrical, and that's largely due to the fact that it's quite new and they built it a fair way out of the city, so there was no shortage of space like there is at other venues in this video. An interesting feature of the ground is the attached Hilton Hotel that overlooks the ground. It's not the only cricket stadium in England with it though. The design is a little boring compared to the others that have all the interesting little quirks about them, but it is an excellent modern stadium. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, have a good one.